the Galactic Council's annual Apex exhibition, had drawn representatives from 400 civilizations across the Orion Arm. Ambassador Zex Thor of the Krillian Dominion stood before the assembled delegates, his crystalline exoskeleton refracting the station's artificial sunlight into prismatic patterns across the observation deck. "The rules are simple," he announced, his translator converting his harmonic resonances into comprehensible speech. "Each species presents their world's apex predator, the creature that demonstrates the most formidable combination of lethality, intelligence, and survival capability shall earn their species priority in the upcoming territorial negotiations." The Vraxians brought their Night Stalker, a 12-foot creature of pure muscle and rage, with fangs that dripped a paralytic venom capable of dropping a full-grown Vraxian bull in 3 seconds. It prowled its containment field, 6 eyes scanning for prey that didn't exist. The Quelon delegation unveiled their contribution with considerably more ceremony. The Void Serpent coiled in its plasma cage, a creature that had evolved in the crushing depths of their ocean world where pressure could flatten starship hulls. Its scales absorbed all light, making it appear as a living shadow with teeth. The Threskin Empire, never ones for subtlety, had transported a fully grown bone crusher, an apex predator that stood 15 feet at the shoulder and was covered in bony protrusions sharp enough to pierce armor plating. It had no natural predators on Threska Prime. It was the natural disaster. When Earth's turn arrived, the gathered delegates leaned forward with curiosity. Humanity was relatively new to the Galactic Council, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 70 years prior. Their homeworld's reputation preceded them, a death world by any reasonable measure with crushing gravity, a toxic oxygen atmosphere, and enough biodiversity to stock 100 nightmare zoos. Ambassador Sarah Chen stepped forward, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Behind her, 2 human attendants wheeled forward what appeared to be nothing, just a simple containment field barely 6 feet tall and 4 feet wide. "Honored delegates," Chen began, "Earth is home to countless apex predators. We have great white sharks that can smell blood from miles away. We have saltwater crocodiles that have remained evolutionarily unchanged for millions of years because they achieved perfection. We have orcas with sophisticated hunting techniques that they pass down through generations like culture." She paused, letting the tension build. "But we didn't bring any of those." The containment field shimmered and dropped. Inside stood a small human child, no more than 3 feet tall, with curly brown hair and a shirt depicting some kind of primitive transportation vehicle. The child, later identified as 3-year-old Emma Rodriguez, looked around at the assembled aliens with wide eyes. Then her face crumpled. "I want my mommy," Emma shrieked, her voice reaching decibel levels that made several species' auditory organs retract in self-defense. "Want mommy now." Now! The Threskin delegates' mandibles clicked in what their species considered laughter. "Is this a joke? You bring an infant to challenge apex predators?" Chen's smile didn't waver. "Observe." Emma had discovered that her tiny fists could impact the observation deck's floor, and she proceeded to demonstrate this fact with extraordinary vigor. Each impact sent vibrations through the deck plating, not dangerous but noticeable. Her face had turned an alarming shade of red, and tears streamed down her cheeks even as she screamed wordlessly. "The human juvenile enters a state we call a tantrum," Chen explained calmly over the noise. "Note the sustained vocalization. Human infants can scream at volumes exceeding 100 decibels. For reference, that's comparable to a chainsaw or a pneumatic drill. They can maintain this volume for hours." The Vraxian delegate's translator crackled with confusion. "But what purpose does this serve? Surely it attracts predators." "Ah," Chen said, "but you see, on Earth we are the apex predators. Human children don't need to fear predators because adult humans will eliminate any threat within a 5-mile radius at the first sign of their offspring's distress." Emma had now thrown herself onto the floor, drumming her heels against the deck while screaming about something called juice box. The sound was beginning to cause stress indicators to spike across multiple species' biometric sensors. "Additionally," Chen continued, raising her voice to be heard, "note the persistence. Young humans can maintain this behavior through any environmental condition. Heat, cold, exhaustion, hunger. None of these factors diminish their ability to express displeasure. They possess a determination that defies logic and self-preservation." The Quellan ambassador's tentacles writhed uncomfortably. Surely the adult organisms removed them from the population. Such noise would be detrimental to survival. Chen laughed. Remove them? No, we protect them. We dedicate years, sometimes decades of our lives to nurturing them through this phase. And here's the thing, every single human you see in this room survived this stage. Every single one. The implications settled over the assembly like a heavy fog. Every human was, essentially, a survivor of their own childhood. A species that could endure their own offspring's developmental phases would be nearly impossible to break through psychological warfare or attrition. Furthermore, Chen added, checking her datapad, this child is now entering what we call the negotiation phase. Emma had stopped screaming and was now hiccuping through her tears. If I be good, can I have 2 cookies? Chen knelt down. We'll discuss it after the exhibition, sweetie. 3 cookies! Emma counter-offered at maximum volume, and the tantrum resumed with renewed vigor. Zexthor's crystalline structure had developed small stress fractures from the sustained audio assault. Enough, we concede. Humanity's submission is acknowledged as formidable. But Chen wasn't finished. I should mention, delegates, that humans also have something called the terrible twos, which Emma is currently experiencing. But it's followed by the three-nager phase, then the actual teenage years. Young humans remain in various stages of developmental intensity for approximately 18 standard years. The Threskin delegate, whose bone crusher was now cowering at the back of its containment field, made a gesture of surrender. How does your species survive? Chen smiled warmly as Emma finally wound down, exhausted and curled up on the floor clutching a stuffed toy that had been hidden in her pocket. Because, Ambassador, we don't just survive challenges. We embrace them, we raise them, and we teach them to be better than we are. That little girl will grow up to be smarter, stronger, and more capable than any of us in this room. She looked around at the assembled delegates. That's what makes humanity terrifying. Our apex predator isn't something we hunt. It's something we nurture, protect, and send into the future. The vote for territorial priority was unanimous. No one wanted to argue with a species insane enough to deliberately raise their apex predators inside their own homes. As the delegates filed out, many of them messaging their homeworlds to update threat assessments on humanity, Emma woke from her impromptu nap and looked up at Ambassador Chen with enormous, innocent eyes. Can I have cookies now? Chen laughed and picked her up. Yes, Emma, you definitely earned your cookies today.